Welcome back to another episode of Rob Sports. And as you can see by the thumbnail and by the title, we're going to be breaking down some film on Derwin James. So this very first play right here, you got a simple little check down route from Bo Nix to his running back, and Derwin James comes downhill and make the tackle. So I know to the naked eye, they might be like, man, it ain't really nothing extravagant. I'm going to break it down and tell you why. So if you watch my videos or you're familiar with my channel and you've seen my some of my videos in the past, then you know one of the things that I always talk about when it comes down to defensive guys, and that correlates to defense as well, a key characteristic. Well, we're going to talk about good defenses. A key characteristic to a good defense is being able to make open field tackles, right? Being able to make a tackle. So if you look at this play right here, he checks the ball down to the running back. If Derwin James misses that tackle, nobody else is in frame. So that's another maybe 5 yards. Let's say if you are getting hashed to the ball, you're able to minimize the level of explosiveness it would have been. But at the same time, by him being able to make the open field tackle, it takes away any opportunity to really make anything happen after the catch. And you have a lot of teams that rely on, and even plays like this, you get the ball to your running back in space and just allow for him to utilize his athleticism to be able to make guys miss. But Derwin James did a good job at being able to close the distance fast enough to where when the running back got the ball, he really didn't have any time to be able to make a move, and he was able to secure the tackle. So he took maybe, a few yards gain, maybe 1 or 2 yards gain, and minimized it at that, opposed to allowing it being 5 to 6 or possibly even a first down. So right here, the Saints lined up in the I formation, and this right here is just another beautiful play to me, man. Just look at the physicality. Like I said, once again, you hear a lot of people talking about, the game ain't as physical as it used to be. What are y'all watching? If you want to see the physicality of the game, just watch what goes on in those trenches in that tackle box. So right here, Derwin James does a good job at showing you that there is still physicality. So just look at how he just blows right by 83. I don't really think 83 wanted no smoke on that right there. He kind of just let him come through. And then not only did he blow by 83, he just simply ran, took the fullback head on, boom, knocked him back into Alvin Kamara, and ended up knocking Alvin Kamara down to the ground, or even slowing him down to allow for somebody else to be able to possibly make a tackle on him, man. So like I say, that's one of those things where when it comes down to stopping a run, sometimes you have to understand that you're not going to get the stat on your stat sheet. And what I mean by that, so by him, let's just say, for instance, he take those blocks head on. He eats up the tight end block. He eats up the fullback block. Now, guess what? You allowing for one of your guys to come through and block and possibly make the tackle. So you got to look at it from an unselfish mindset and from a team aspect of saying, if I do my assignment the right way, I create opportunities for my other players and for the defense as a whole. And that's what he did a good job at, being able to take on those two blocks and even push him back to allow to either the one knock him down or to allow his teammates to be able to the linebackers to fill those holes and be able to come downhill and make tackles. So on this play right here, you had him in pass coverage. Based off the camera angle, I wasn't really able to get everything from the beginning and towards the end and to the end of the route. So I kind of just got it to where he ended up eventually making the pass breakup. But if you can see right here, number 3 does have a step on him. He did a good job at being able to recover and close the distance. Now, I know some people might say, well, that was a horribly thrown pass. And I was thinking that too. But just notice the person that's in front of him that's coming right here. You got a safety that was coming over the top of him. So I'm not quite sure if Jameis Winston saw that and was trying to protect his receiver or what. But by that happening, it allowed for Derwin James to be able to, for one, close the distance and to be able to get his hand in there to try to dislodge the ball like he did right here. So just good recovery for one, and then good just effort, you know what I mean? And fighting all the way down to the ground. Like, the mentality as a DB that you have to have, whether you're a corner, anybody that's going to be in pass defense and coverage, whether you're a linebacker that's guarding a running back, tight end, whether you're a safety that's guarding a tight end or a receiver, whether you're a corner that's guarding a receiver corner or receiver tight end or a running back, no matter the difference, if you're in pass coverage, that's one of those things you have to understand, is that a play or a catch isn't complete until it goes down to the ground. So you still have a fighting chance, even if the guy initially catches the ball right here. Just try to get your hand in there, try to dislodge it, and to try to make him feel your body going down to the ground as well. So right here, you got Derwin James. He kind of was lined up as if he was going to be in pass coverage. Now, I noticed something that they like to do with him, too, is send him in on blitzes from the outside. So it kind of keeps the defense guessing, in a sense. Most of the time, they're used to blitzes coming up through the middle or on the outsides in terms of the linebackers and things like that, depending on how they move the linebackers around in their defensive scheme. But they do a good job at blitzing him to kind of throw the opposing team off. So right here on this play, they send him on a blitz. And once again, man, he just obliterates the running back. And that's one of the things I love about Derwin James is that level of physicality. You know what I mean? He is that type of box safety that you can have, and he's strong in the run and he's good against the pass. So right here, once again, like I say, just being able to rush the quarterback, he does a good job at just taking the running back on head on, blows him up. Joe Burrow, like he was trying to step up in the pocket, and he just kind of ran straight into number 45, but Derwin James was also there able to get him as well. So right here on this play, I'm going to show you guys what I mean about, keeping the defense guessing. When you have a guy like Derwin James that you can blitz off of the edge. So notice that you have 3 down linemen, right? You got 3 guys with their hand in the dirt. Then you have 3 guys. Then you have 3 down linemen. You have 4 guys that's standing up, whether that be 3 linebackers and a safety, whether that be 2 linebackers, a nickel and a safety, or a star, however you want to classify it. But what they do is post snap. They show that pre-snap, my bad. Pre-snap, they show 4 guys on the line as if they're going to be rushing 4 guys, right? Post snap, once the ball is hiked, notice that the guy on the right edge, he drops back in the pass coverage, and now you send Derwin James on the blitz, right? Now Derwin James once again does a good job. Now he doesn't really just physically takes this running back head on like how he did the other ones. He kind of did a good job at kind of just selling them and catching them off balance, and then eventually he was able to throw them out the way and be able to get it to Lamar Jackson. But once again, man, just showing that you cannot pick up a blitz with one individual with him. I mean, we've seen him blow up. This is 2 running backs now. When you're dealing with Derwin James, you have to take into consideration where he's at, and because a lot of times it's that'll kind of tell you where the pressure or the blitz is possibly coming from. Now, granted, me personally, where I think they could have excelled on this play right here is that notice that the tackle box was very, very light. You got 4, 5, 6. You might have had a 6-man box, so I probably would have checked out of a pass and handed the ball off to my running back, because just look at the gap that he would have possibly had to be able to just pick up some yards, so you didn't end up with a negative play like this one. So right here, you gotta have a situation. You got a 3rd and 1, and once again, man, Derwin James just disrupts and blows up an entire play. So you got a running back lined up in the slot. So I guess they were trying to probably have the running back try to be able to seal the outside and block Derwin James. But Derwin James just did really a good job of just really beating him to the point of attack. Like the running back, once again, like I say, he didn't really give a valiant effort to probably try to be able to get in front of Derwin James, so he probably didn't want none of that smoke as well. But Derwin James just does a darn good job at being able to read and react. He just is able to get to the point of attack well before the running back is able to do anything to possibly stop him, and he just sends Drake London flying, man. This was a heck of a hit. I should have played the actual audio from it to where you can hear those pads clack, and you will really know the significance and the severity of that shot. But he just was able to get in the backfield and lay a heck of a shot on Drake London to prevent them from being able to get it on 3rd down. All right, so we got another guy to have a situation right here. So it's just like the previous clip. This is like the exact same play they ran on the previous clip. It's just this time they didn't send Drake London in motion. So they're closer in the red area. On previous clip, they were at the 60-yard line. And, man, once again, Derwin James just does a good job at really being able to get a step on the running back number 34, this is the 2nd time that he's missed that block on Derwin James. And he just comes back, just gets a free shot at the running back in the backfield once again. On the previous clip, it was Drake London right here. It's this running back. You would think that at some point they would start to say, okay, where is Derwin James? And let's always take into consideration exactly where he's at, especially in those gotta-have-it situations, especially if we're running the ball. We need to make sure we know exactly where he's at to where we can kind of understand, okay, what are we going to do to try to make sure that he is not as effective as he has been on these previous plays. But once again, man, he just does a good job in anticipating the snap, being able to beat the running back to the point of attack and get in the backfield and making another tackle for a loss on a gotta-have-it situation. So this play right here was actually a game-winning interception. This was the play that pretty much ended the game. Falcons was trying to drive the length of the field to be able to go down and put up points. Derwin James was able to stop that from happening. So we're going to kind of dissect what we're looking at. So for one, we have a 4th and 12. So we got a guy to have a situation. So you got to kind of understand the down and the distance of this situation. So it's 4th and 12. They need 12 yards to get a 1st down and keep this drive going. So you pretty much know that for the most part, whatever they throw is probably going to be past the sticks or even right at the sticks, because their goal is to be able to, especially if I got time and I got timeouts, why would I just try to go for anything deep? Let me just try to get something right at the sticks to be able to get the 1st down, and then we can reset from there. So it looked like the Chargers probably were in like a cover 4, somewhat of a prevent defense to try to give up, to prevent from giving up the deep ball. And Derwin James just does a good job at kind of probably reading Kirk Cousins' eyes. Obviously, that's what you do in zone from a defensive back or from a coverage standpoint, period. You're kind of reading the quarterback's eyes to try to figure out exactly exactly where it is that he wants to go with the ball. I look like Kirk Cousins. Well, he did a somewhat of a pretty good job at kind of surveying the field left to right. But obviously, he pretty much, he kind of had. And then obviously, if you're familiar with the Falcons offense too, you know that in those guys that have his situations, most of the time, you're probably going to be going to Drake London. He's a slot guy, and a lot of the times those slot guys are the ones that's going to hurt you in those situations. So obviously, just knowing that and knowing it down in the distance, it allows for you to be able to make plays like this. He just does a good job at really just reading Kirk's eyes and being able to step in front of Drake London to seal the game with an interception. On this play right here, you got Derwin James once again blitzing off of the edge. So the left tackle was actually able to slightly get a hand on him and kind of disrupt him a tad bit, not much. Like I said, Derwin James, one of the things I noticed about him too is that he does a very good job at being able to anticipate snaps, whether that's via the pass or whether that's via the run. So a lot of times, like if you look at those plays against Atlanta, the running back was never able to get in front of him to block him just because of how good of a job that he was doing to be able to anticipate the snap. And you see the same thing with this play right here dealing with the left tackle. And then right here, I like what I just seen in terms of him showcasing his pass rush skills being meshed up on Pacheco. So, most of the time we seen him just simply just take on those guys head on and just kind of just throw them out the way. But right here, he did it with a little bit of finesse. He was able to kind of come off the edge, get chipped, and right here, boom, hit him with the swim move, come on the inside, and be able to come in the backfield and get the sack on Patrick Mahomes, man. So once again, like I say, man, what's not to like about this guy? You can defend the run with him, and you can defend the pass with him. And typically, to play the role that he plays, kind of in the box, you have to be able to do both. You have to be able to fit into those run fits, and then you have to be able to cover, but then you also have to be able to rush the quarterback whenever it's asked of you. So this is another thing I like about Derwin James. Y'all always hear me when I talk about, you don't have to be the most athletic. You don't have to be the most fastest. You don't have to be the most strongest. Sometimes it's just about the effort that you give. So right here, that's another thing I like about Derwin James is the effort I see. But just like this play right here is a testament of what I'm trying to get across. So notice how he comes off of the left side on the blitz. So he's behind number 48, right? Just look at where he starts off at. He's behind number 48. So he's behind number 48. So he's pursuing all the way from the left side. Quarterback like he's trying to roll out, trying to buy some time to extend the play. And if the opportunity presents itself, probably is going to take off running outside containment. Did a good job at kind of sealing the edge, so not really giving him anywhere to go. But Derwin James just does a good job at being able to pursue him from all the way over the other side of the field and being able to make the sack on him. And then just being able to fight with him, because he's trying to stiff arm him, just being able to fight with him and being able to get him down to the ground for a sack. And this was a gotta have a situation, by the way, of 4th and 2. So you got to love that as well. So right here, once again, man, the Chargers do a good job at showing blitz and then being able to drop back and drop those guys that were kind of closer up to the line of scrimmage back into pass coverage. So if you notice that when you look at this crosser route that's coming across, initially, if they would have sent the blitz, that route would have been open, right? But the fact that they showed blitz and drop back, show blitz pre-snap, post-snap, drop back into pass coverage, it kind of made the quarterback second guess and hold on to the ball a tad bit longer for Derwin James to get to him. Now we're going to get to Derwin James, right? Once again, just like I said, man, watching film on him, he has been terrorizing those running backs, man. They have not stood a chance, whether it was him beating number 34 to the punch on 2 different plays against Atlanta, whether it was him in the Bengals game, just being able to kind of just throw the running back to the side. And just like he does right here, once again, he gives him a left-right fake, kind of try to juke him like he was playing tag in recess in elementary school, but then eventually just gets his hands on him, putting his hands right there on the chest and just kind of bull rushing him, pushing him out the way, and then being able to make the sack on the quarterback. All right, man. So for the very final play, man, we got to have a situation. So I'm glad that I was able to see this play just as well as another one of his interceptions, because I think a lot of times that he can kind of probably get boxed into being just a box safety, because we see so much of the plays that he makes come from him being in the box, whether that be vias in the run, being able to, play those run fits, makes tackles in the backfield, whether that's him being able to rush the quarterback and able to get sacks. But then he can also, if need be, drop back into pass coverage like this one right here and play the ball in the deep part of the field. So so it looks like, I was going to say he's matched up on Brock Bowers. He ended up on Brock Bowers, but I think that they might have been in some type of cover 4, some type of deep zone to probably try to take away the deep ball. By the way, too, this is another one of my favorite situations. You got to have a situation of 4th and 10, and you got a red area possession too. And you know what I always say about the red area? When you get to the red area, every player's got to have it play, because when you get to the red area, you want to be able to put up points. You want to be able to put up touchdowns. You want to be able to put up field goals. Touchdowns preferably, obviously, but you will take field goals if need be. But in this situation right here, obviously, when you know that you can't win or tie the game with a field goal, a touchdown is a must, and that's exactly what they were trying to get right here. And the Chargers has did a good job at being able to sit back in their deep zone and take that option away. But right here, man, Derwin James makes a phenomenal interception over Brock Bowers, and just notice how he's able to also get both feet inbounds. Let's take another look at that again. Goes up, makes a play on the ball, boom, and able to get 2 feet on the ground. Now I'm not sure if he was able to maintain possession all the way through or what, but to me it does look like it. Now, like they did a little hand fighting too, so I'm not sure if it ended up coming up in as an incompletion, but just a good ball skills to be able to get your head around and be able to defend the ball on the deep part of the field. Like I said, man, it's a lot to like about Derwin James, man. He can do a lot. He can do, whatever the defense the defensive coordinator asks for him to be able to do, whether that be rush the passer, whether that be in pass coverage, or whether that be in run fits, being able to make plays in the backfield like we've seen them do play after play. But, man, that is it for this video, man. If you did enjoy this video, do me a big favor. Smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. When you subscribe, make sure that you got that notification bell turned on, and where you be notified every time I upload. And I'll see y'all in the next video.